There's a quote that can completely rewrite the way you think about life. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Jim Rohn, simple, direct, and devastatingly powerful. Most people spend their lives wishing things would change, that the world would be kinder, that success would be easier, that the path would be smoother, that the pain would be lighter. But wishing doesn't change the world. Wishing doesn't solve your problems. Wishing doesn't make you stronger. You don't become great by lowering the difficulty. You become great by rising to the challenge. And this is where most people go wrong. They wish for fewer problems instead of becoming a better problem solver. They wish for less resistance instead of building more resilience. They wish others would change instead of transforming themselves. But the truth is, life isn't going to get easier. The economy won't suddenly bend to your needs. Your relationships won't magically fix themselves, and success won't just fall into your lap because you want it badly enough. Life will always be filled with struggle, but the stronger you become, the more that struggle turns into fuel. Jim Rohn taught this to millions. He knew that the key wasn't outside of us, it was within us. If you want more, become more. If you want change, be the change. If you want success, you have to earn it through effort, discipline, and personal evolution. Let that sink in, because the people who rise in life aren't the ones with perfect conditions. They're the ones who stop waiting for life to get easier and start working on becoming better, equipped to deal with life. You can spend years blaming the system, your past, your parents, your job, or you can decide today, it's on me now, and I will become someone who can handle whatever comes. That's not just motivation, that's empowerment. Because when you stop outsourcing your power, you start unlocking your true potential. The obstacles don't shrink, you grow bigger. The fear doesn't vanish, you become braver. The pressure doesn't ease, you become stronger under it. And that's what this message is about. It's not about fantasy. It's about ownership. It's about taking responsibility for your growth and letting that be the foundation for the life you want. Jim Rohn didn't just speak to inspire, he spoke to awaken, to show you that your life will never exceed your willingness to grow. So stop wishing it were easier. Start asking, how do I get better? Because that is where your future begins. Let's explore what getting better actually means. Because improvement isn't a vague concept. It's not something reserved for the elite or the gifted. It's available to anyone, but only if you're willing to work for it. Most people hear the word better and think of achievements. More money, more skills, more rewards, but becoming better starts with changing who you are on the inside long before the outside world notices. That means becoming more disciplined when no one is watching. Curious when it would be easier to stay ignorant, honest when it would be easier to lie, resilient when quitting looks tempting, focused when distractions surround you. You want to level up your results. You have to level up your standards, Jim Rohn said. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because if you grow, your life will follow. Your income will rise to meet your self-discipline. Your relationships will elevate to match your self-respect. Your opportunities will multiply in response to your preparation. And it's not magic. It's alignment. You attract what you're ready for. And readiness is revealed in your daily actions, not in your wishes. Let's get real for a moment. If you're waking up late, avoiding your responsibilities, procrastinating, making excuses, you're not preparing for success. You're avoiding the pain of growth, and in doing so, inviting the pain of regret. But it doesn't have to stay that way. You can decide right now to shift, to stop looking at your challenges like curses, and start seeing them as custom-designed lessons. That hard job, it's building your discipline. That rejection, it's refining your resilience. That setback, it's revealing your weak points. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. If you're willing to receive the lesson, that's what Jim Rohn meant when he said, don't ask for fewer problems, ask for more wisdom. Because the better you become, the less you need life to change, and the more you change within it. That's real power, not waiting for things to get easier, but becoming someone who rises regardless. And that's the invitation: to stop praying for ease, to stop fantasizing about luck, to stop hoping the world changes, and start changing yourself. Because the moment you do, you stop being a victim of circumstance and you start becoming a creator of outcomes. Let's talk about the power of ownership, because if you want to stop wishing for an easier life, you have to own the life you have right now, every part of it. That means taking full responsibility for your time, your energy, your attitude, your effort, your results. And this can be uncomfortable, because we live in a world that loves to shift the blame. People blame the economy. They blame the government. They blame their parents, their past, their partner, their environment. But here's the hard truth: as long as you keep blaming, you stay stuck. Blame is a prison. Responsibility is the key. Jim Rohn said, "You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself." And that single shift from external control to internal power is where transformation begins. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I do about it?" You stop saying, "I can't catch a break," and start saying, "I'm going to prepare so thoroughly that breaks have no choice but to find me." That's what becoming better looks like. It's not about having more resources. It's about becoming more resourceful. It's not about controlling every event. It's about controlling your response to every event. That's the real difference between those who succeed and those who struggle endlessly. It's not talent. It's not timing. It's not luck. It's mindset. Those who rise are the ones who decide, "I don't need it to be easier. I just need to grow stronger." And from that decision, they begin doing what most won't. They read when others scroll. They reflect when others blame. They show up when others sleep in. They move forward even when they're scared, because they're not waiting for perfect conditions. They're creating themselves into someone who thrives regardless of the conditions. This is what Jim Rohn meant when he said personal development is the foundation for everything. Because once you develop yourself, you can take any skill and master it. You can enter any room and own it. You can face any challenge and learn from it. You can build a life that reflects your inner strength, not your outer struggle. The game of life doesn't reward wishes. It rewards preparation. It rewards effort. It rewards ownership. So if you're tired of struggling, don't wait for it to get easier. Ask yourself instead, what would the best version of me do right now? Then do that, and do it again tomorrow, and again the next day. That's how you stop hoping and start building. Let's talk about something most people avoid: discipline. Discipline isn't glamorous. It doesn't get applause. It's not exciting, but it's the gateway to everything you want. Jim Rohn made it crystal clear. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And here's the truth: if you want to become better, you can't rely on motivation. You can't wait to feel inspired. You can't let emotions dictate your actions, because real growth, the kind that changes lives, comes from doing the hard things even when you don't feel like it. You don't wish for better results. You discipline yourself into becoming the person who earns those results. That means showing up when it's hard, saying no to distractions, saying yes to priorities, practicing patience. When others want shortcuts, being consistent when progress feels slow. Because every time you honor your discipline, you're casting a vote for the stronger version of yourself. The version who doesn't just wish for change, but works for it. But here's where most people fall short. They start strong, then stop when it gets uncomfortable. They want results, but they aren't willing to build the routines that produce those results. So they fall back into the trap of waiting. Waiting for inspiration, waiting for circumstances to shift, waiting for someone else to push them, and waiting becomes a habit, and that habit turns into regret. But you, if you're watching this, you've already chosen something different. You're not here for fantasy. You're here to take control. You're here to rewrite your story, and that starts with daily discipline. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Read the book, go for the run, track the habit, build the routine, Keep the promise, especially the ones you make to yourself, because every act of discipline is a deposit into your future. And eventually, those deposits compound into confidence. That's when life begins to shift. You're no longer hoping things get easier, you're too busy getting better. And better people attract better opportunities. Better people handle harder challenges. Better people build stronger lives from the inside out. So don't worry about whether the road is tough. Ask yourself, am I becoming tough enough for the road? Because life isn't going to lower the bar. You were born to rise above it. Let's dive into one of the greatest benefits of becoming better: confidence. Real confidence doesn't come from compliments. It doesn't come from fake positivity or empty hype. It comes from evidence. Evidence that you've put in the work. Evidence that you've kept your promises. Evidence that you've faced hard things and grown stronger because of them. That's why wishing things were easier is so dangerous. Because ease might bring comfort, but it never builds confidence. Jim Rohn understood this deeply. He knew that when you embrace the struggle, when you lean into discomfort, you don't just achieve more, you become more. And that is where confidence is born, not in the outcome, in the process. Think about it. You're more confident when you know you've done the reps. You're more confident when you've prepared, practiced, and persisted. You're more confident because you've earned your own respect, and that self-respect, it's the foundation for everything else: how you speak, how you show up, how you handle pressure, how you pursue your dreams. Confidence is not arrogance, it's not pretending, it's not puffing up your chest and hoping no one calls you out. Confidence is quiet, it's calm, it's earned in the darkness when no one's watching. It's waking up every day and saying, I've trained for this, I've paid the price, I've done the work. I don't need to wish it were easier because I've become better. That mindset changes how you approach every challenge. You stop fearing failure, you stop shrinking from responsibility, you stop hiding behind excuses, because when you've built the muscle, you're not scared of the weight. And here's something else. The people you admire, the ones who seem unshakable, they weren't born that way. They built themselves, they made decisions when it was easier to delay. They trained their minds when others numbed theirs. They sacrificed temporary comfort for long-term growth. And now they move through life with a quiet power. You can do the same. You don't need anyone's permission to become better. You just need your own commitment. The world is full of people hoping things change, hoping it gets easier, hoping someone rescues them. But hope without effort is just waiting, and you weren't built to wait. You were built to work, to grow, to rise, so don't settle for a wish. Build the kind of life that makes you proud to say, I didn't need easy, I became better. Let's look at another angle of becoming better, raising your standards, because if you want your life to change, you must first change what you tolerate. Jim Rohn once said, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That's not just a quote, it's a challenge to elevate your expectations of yourself. Most people are trying to improve their results, but they never raise the standard of who they are. They want better pay, but not better skills. They want healthier relationships, but not better communication. They want more respect, but without becoming more reliable. You see the pattern. Results rise to meet identity. If you want higher outcomes, you need higher standards. But here's the truth. Raising your standards often means walking alone. Because when you decide to become better, you'll realize that not everyone around you wants to grow. Some people want easy, some want average, some want to coast, to settle, to escape. And when you start aiming higher, they'll feel uncomfortable. They'll try to pull you back. They'll say things like, why are you working so hard? You've changed. Just relax, don't take life so seriously. But you must decide, do you want to fit in, or do you want to rise up? Because the life you want is not found in the crowd. It's found in the uncomfortable zone where growth lives, where discipline lives. Where better lives, that's what wish you were better means. Not better than someone else, better than your past self, better than your excuses, better than your old habits. And yes, that's hard. Growth is inconvenient. It requires letting go of comfort and stepping into discomfort by choice. But what's harder, staying stuck, watching years go by with nothing to show, knowing you had more in you and never doing anything about it. That's real pain. Jim Rohn said it best. We must all suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. So which one will you choose? Because one leads to strength, the other leads to resentment. One builds legacy, the other builds regret. When you choose the pain of discipline, the pain of early mornings, hard choices, honest reflection, you choose a better life. And eventually, that pain turns into pride, into power, into peace. So stop lowering the bar. Raise your standards so high that your old life can't even reach you, because better isn't something you find, it's something you become. Now let's talk about something most people completely underestimate: personal responsibility. You see, wishing it were easier is easy, because it puts the blame out there, on the economy, on the government, on your parents, on your boss, on your past. But wishing you were better, that brings it back to you. And that's where real power lies. Jim Rohn said, you cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself. That is something you have charge of. Most people never tap into that truth. They spend their lives reacting instead of responding. They say things like, I'm like this because of what happened to me. It's not my fault, it's just how life is. Things never go my way. But here's the hard truth. That mindset might feel comforting, but it's also paralyzing. Because if you're not responsible, then you're not in control. And if you're not in control, then how will you ever improve your life? That's why this shift, this idea of becoming better instead of blaming the situation, is so powerful. It gives you the one thing every human being needs to move forward: agency, not just motivation, not just ideas, but the authority to say, I can't control the storm, but I can control the sails. I can't erase the past, but I can design the future. I can't make life easier, but I can make myself stronger. That's not arrogance, that's ownership. And ownership is the foundation of progress. Because when you take full responsibility, three things happen. You stop waiting for rescue. You start finding solutions. You begin building momentum. Responsibility removes the illusion of helplessness. It replaces the victim mindset with a creator mindset. And the moment you stop saying, I wish, and start saying, I will, your life starts changing. You stop saying, I hope it gets better, and start saying, I'm getting better. You stop looking at the mountain and start preparing your climb. You don't need anyone to rescue you. You just need to wake up the champion that's already inside you. Because that version of you, the one who takes ownership, the one who shows up every day, no matter how tough it gets, that's the version who doesn't settle. That's the version who doesn't wish it were easier. That's the version who earns every win. So stop outsourcing your power. It's yours. It's always been yours. Take it back and build the life no one thought you could. Now we come to the heart of the matter. You were never meant to have an easy life. You were meant to become a strong person. Easy never built a legend. Easy never changed the world. Easy never made a dent in the universe. What transforms you, what elevates you, what reveals your potential is adversity. And your relationship with adversity determines your destiny. You can run from it, complain about it, avoid it, or you can rise to meet it. You can face it with strength. You can say, I may not be ready yet, but I'm getting better every day. That's the key. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be progressing. That's what Jim Rohn meant when he said, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. He meant work on yourself like your future depends on it, because it does. Feed your mind, train your habits, strengthen your resolve. Don't pray for smaller mountains, build stronger legs. Don't beg for lighter burdens, build a stronger back. Because when you become better, everything around you improves. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Your vision expands, your confidence deepens, your resilience multiplies. The world doesn't reward ease, it rewards excellence. And excellence is never a gift, it's a result. A result of showing up when it's uncomfortable, of doing the reps when no one is watching, of staying focused when everyone else is distracted, of getting up after every fall and saying, I'm not done yet. And one day, the very thing you thought was holding you back will become the reason you succeeded. The struggle that once made you cry will become the strength that makes others rise. You'll be able to look in the mirror and say, I didn't wait for it to get easier, I made myself better. So from this moment forward, adopt the mindset of a builder. Build your focus, build your courage, build your habits, build your discipline, build your life, not with blame, not with excuses, but with action. With growth, with relentless self-improvement, because no one is coming to save you, but if you show up every day with the intention to improve, you will save yourself. So here's the challenge. When life gets hard, don't fold. Get better. When things fall apart, don't quit. Get better. When you're tired, overlooked, underestimated, don't shrink. Get better, not someday, now. That's how you win. That's how you rise. That's how you make the world better, by making yourself better. So stop wishing, start working, and let the rest of your life become a living testimony of what happens when a person chooses growth over ease.